Translation. Kashi Mishra then told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything belongs to you. What is the use of your begging? By your own will, you can take whatever you like. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadamaham bande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. With the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So what is Kashi Mishra referring to? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has asked to use that place which is near his residence in a garden, a single room, which is very solitary, very recluse, and as Srila Prabhupada points out in the last purport, he may have had that in mind for his own bhajan or for the bhajan of Haridas Thakur. So that is where we are starting today. Text 178. Amidui hai tomar das agya kari, ye chahase agya deha kripa kari. My Lord, we are your two servants and are here just to carry out your orders. By your mercy, please tell us to do whatever you want. Eta kahidui jane vidai la ila gopinath vanina dunhe sange nila. Saying this, Kashi Mishra and the temple inspector took their leave, and Gopinath and Vaninath went with them. 180. Gopinathe de kaila sabhava saghara Vaninatha thani dila prasada vistara. Gopinath was then shown all the residential places, and Vaninath was given large quantities of food, Mahaprasadam, left by Lord Jagannath. 81. Vaninatha aila bahu prasada pitalana Gopinatha aila vasa sanskara kariya. Thus Vaninath Roy returned with large quantities of Lord Jagannath's food remnants, including cakes and other good eatables. Gopinath Acharya also returned after cleansing all the residential quarters. So here we can see how the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were happy to perform whatever service was required for the benefit of all the visiting guests. We know that Shivananda Sena every year would bring a group of around 200 devotees from Navadvip Mayapur all the way down to Jagannath Puri. And they walked by foot. Quite a journey. Shivananda Sena took care of all the devotees. He made sure they had nice arrangements for staying and prasad, and he took care of the toll fees. So that was his service. Now here we are hearing about Kashi Mishra and the superintendent of the temple who are making arrangements for the devotees to have a wonderful stay in Jagannath Puri. And we just heard how Gopinath Acharya was cleansing all the residential quarters. Now Gopinath Acharya is not just, some newcomer or some hired help, but he is a very, very seasoned devotee. So we can see here how all these senior devotees are taking care of the welfare of the visiting guests, of the visiting devotees. That is the culture, that is the Vaishnava culture, that when a guest comes, we take care of them. And it is explained in our tradition that even if you might not be capable of receiving them to the standard that would be befitting for a Vaishnav, that you would give them a royal reception, you would be there with, great fanfare, with music and words of praise and food and whatever. If you can't do that, well, at least make the place clean. Put a sitting place. Give a glass of water. And if you even can't do that, because it may just not be possible, it may be beyond your means, your situation, then just stand there with all your family members and just cry and pay your dandavats. And then the Vaishnav, they will understand, okay, this is a no service zone, but they will be pleased by the sincerity and by the humility of the guest, of the host. So they will not feel in any way, shape, or form neglected, so to speak. That is real humility. Sometimes we confuse humility. We think, yeah, Prabhuji, yeah, Prabhuji. How can I serve you, Prabhuji? And then you say, well, like a clean room and a bed sheet would be nice. And they say, a little busy right now, little busy right now. Like that servant of Durga Devi, you remember, who went and he had a request and he got that granted. But then he kind of forgot to make the offering that he promised, that goat. And so next time he came, Durga asked, well, what about goat? And he said, well, right now, little difficult, too much expense, not possible. He said, well, you promised, you got to keep your word, you got to bring something, anything. And anyway, he was bargaining and delaying, and in the end, she said, well, at least offer something, even, some flies, something. And he said, well, you got 10 hands, there's so many flies around, why don't you catch them yourself, So, humility means that we understand our position, that we are very small, insignificant, and we're a servant. That is our position. And at a servant, our question should be, Kim karo? Kinkara. Kim karo? What should I do? How can I serve? What is my service? So, as we're here trying to enter into the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we should ask ourselves, how can I serve? And there's plenty of opportunity for service. We'll speak about that in a minute. So they were making great arrangements to feed the devotees, wonderful Jagannath Mahaprasad. (182) Mahaprabhu kahe shuna sarva Vaishnav gana nija nija vasa sabe karaha gamana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then addressed all the Vaishnavas and requested that they listen to him. He said, now you can go to your respective residential quarters. 83. Samudra snan korikara chuda darashana tobe aji ihan asi karibe bhojana. Go to the sea and bathe and look at the top of the temple. After so doing, please come back here and take your lunch. Prabhu namaskari sabe vasate chalila Gopinata Charya Sabe Vasastana Dila. After offering obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees departed for their residences, and Gopinath Acharya showed them their respective quarters. Mahaprabhu aila tabe Haridas Milane, Haridas Kare Preme Nama Sankirtane. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to meet Haridas Thakur, and he saw him engaged in chanting the Mahamantra with ecstatic love. Haridas chanted, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhu dekhi pade age dandavatana, Prabhu alingana kaila tanre utana. As soon as Haridas Thakur saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he immediately fell down like a stick to offer him obeisances. And Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu raised him up and embraced him. Duijane premaveshe karina krandane Prabhu gune britya vikal Prabhu britya gune. Then both the Lord and his servant began to cry in ecstatic love. Indeed, the Lord was transformed by the qualities of his servant, and the servant was transformed by the qualities of his master. Purport. The Mayavadi philosophers say that the living entity and the Supreme Lord are non-different, and therefore they equate the transformation of the living entity with the transformation of the Lord. In other words, Mayavadis say that if the living entity is pleased, the Lord is also pleased. And if the living entity is displeased, the Lord is also displeased. By juggling words in this way, Mayavadis try to prove that there is no difference between the living entity and the Lord. This, however, is not a fact. In this verse, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains, Prabhu gune britya vikal, Prabhu britya gune. The Lord and the living entity are not equal, for the Lord is always the master, and the living entity is always the servant. Transformation takes place due to transcendental qualities, and it is thus said that the servant of the Lord is the heart of the Lord, and the Lord is the heart of the servant. This is also explained by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, text 11. Ye yatamam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham mamavartmanuvartante manushyak partha sarvashaha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. The Lord is always eager to congratulate the servant because of the servant's transcendental qualities. The servant pleasingly renders service unto the Lord, and the Lord also very pleasingly reciprocates, rendering even more service unto the servant. Aham bhakta paradino yasvatantraiva dvaja. And the other one, there's two verses who say exactly. Mayam sadunam hridayam tvaham madanyate na janapi maham tebyo managapi. In other words, just what we heard here in the purport, that the devotees are always in the Lord of the heart, and in the heart of the Lord, and the Lord is always in the heart of the devotee. So, that's why when Durvasa Muni tried to plead with Vishnu to take back the Sudarshan chakra, and he appealed to his heart, he said, my heart is not here, my heart is with my devotee, with Maharaj Ambarish. So if you want someone to forgive you, you got to go to him, because that's where my heart is. It's there. So, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the fallacy of the Mayavadi philosophers' argument that the living entity and the Lord are non-different, trying to somehow equate them. And he's pointing out that this is not a fact, because they are eternally, distinctly separate. Although they can be one in desire. They can be one in purpose. They're one in quality. But in quantity, the living entity is always Anu, or tiny. And the Lord is always Vibhu, or unlimited. So, this is a very important point to understand. And Srila Prabhupada is pointing that out here in this purport. So, the Supreme Lord is always eager to congratulate the servant because of the transcendental qualities of the servant. Now, what is the transcendental quality of Haridas Thakur that is outstanding here? It is his extreme humility. He is Namacharya. He is the teacher of the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Also known as Brahma Haridas. So Brahma, he came as Haridas Thakur to take a break from administration and engage in the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all the administrators are happily invited to take a break from administrative duty and engage in the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is bona fide. It is permissible. And that will actually be a wonderful example to the world that management is not the top. It's not where it's at. But the top is glorifying the Lord through Harinam Sankirtan. And that will create so much punya, so much auspiciousness, so much faith and trust that people naturally will want to follow the management. So the humility of Haridas Thakur was outstanding. It was so extreme that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu often mentioned that it is breaking my heart. It is too much to bear, because he would keep himself separate from the general rank and file of the devotees. He felt unqualified to be in their association. He would always be in the back. He would always stay at a distance. He did not feel adequate that he would mingle with the general mass of devotees. He did not want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. So he did not go into the Jagannath temple. He did not conceive of any tricks of how to achieve that. He was happy just chanting the holy name of the Lord. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day came to see him. He went and spent time with Haridas Thakur every day. And he ensured that he had a peaceful place to stay, where to do his bhajan, and that he received his prasad. So the Lord was very kind. He was very considerate to his dear devotee. Why? Because his qualities were so outstanding. His humility was so profound that the Lord felt naturally attracted, and he could not stay away. He had to go and visit Haridas Thakur and spend time with him. So this is wonderful exchange of love and of devotion between the Lord and his devotee. Today is also Vamana Dvadashi. So Vamana Dev appeared in this world for different reasons. He was asked by the demigods to save them, because they were in a very difficult position. They had been evicted from their home. Have you ever been evicted from your home? Not yet? Yeah. So you get a little bit of a taste, but they were not just evicted from their house, they were evicted from the heavenly planets. So they were in great difficulties, and they prayed to the Lord to help them. And the Lord, he agreed. And he appeared as Vamanadev, as the son of Kashyapa and Aditi, yes. Aditi, yes. Because Diti is the mother of the Daityas and Danavas, and Aditi is the mother of the Adityas, or the demigods. So he appeared as a small little Brahmin boy, as a Vatu, as a dwarf. And he was very beautiful, very beautiful. He was wearing deerskin and Rudraksha beads and belt and all the accoutrements. And he appeared in the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaj, who was the ruler. He was the king of the demons, Prahlad Maharaj's grandson. And in that sacrifice, in that yajna, he appeared at the right moment. So Bali Maharaj welcomed him, he worshipped him, he glorified him, and he said, "My dear Brahman, what can I offer you? I will give you whatever you want. And Vamanadev, he just asked for 3 steps of land. Just 3 steps of land. Just like the devotees on Sankirtan, they say, just give me a moment, I just need a moment of your time. It may change the rest of eternity, but just give me a moment of your time. So, and he was very enthusiastic to grant it. But then his spiritual master, Shukracharya, said, whoa, 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 hold your horses. Wait a moment. This is not good. This fellow here is Vishnu. And Vishnu will take everything away from you. He's also known as Hari. You know what Hari means? Somebody will take away, right? So, and people are scared. They think, oh, if I go to Vishnu, Hari, he will take away. But he will take away your misery. He will take away your illusion, your suffering, your attachment. So, but we think, no, he will take everything away. So, Bali was in a very great predicament. There was his Lord, and there was his teacher, and there was some conflict of interest. There was some jam there. Have you ever been in a jam? Have you ever been in a situation like that? I remember one time I got a big donation from my mother, and I wanted to give it to my spiritual master, but my temple president said, you're a brahmachari, you have to give it to me. And they were both there in the room, and it was kind of funny watching the whole scenario. And then my guru said, no, it's okay, you can give it to me. So, so I gave it to him. And the temple president, who was also a disciple of the same spiritual master, he just had to, what could he do? What could he do? It was a predicament. Sometimes you don't know how to navigate. And the only way how to make sense of it is to surrender to Krishna, to pray to Krishna in your heart. Give me the intelligence. This is my managerial authority. This is my spiritual authority. Who should I choose? How can I navigate? So in ISKCON we have these parallel lines of authorities. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda, Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Shri Gonitai Ki Jai. And sometimes they may seem to be parallel, and sometimes they're not so much parallel. They're more like interwoven. So we have to use our own God-given intelligence, how to make sense of this. So Bali Maharaj, he did not reject giving respect to his guru, but he did not follow his instruction. And he surrendered to Vamanadev. And he gave him, he granted. He said, no, I'm good. My word, my promise is good. And I will hold it up. And Shukracharya was upset. And he cursed him. He said, you lose everything. Everything will be gone. So with 2 steps, Vamanadev took everything. And then he said, so now, big man, what about my 3rd step? You promised me 3 steps. Formerly, Bali Maharaj said, why only 3 steps? This is not so smart. I own everything. And you only want 3 steps of land? You have very small steps. And here we can see how the Lord and his devotee, there is this love. There is this exchange of love where there is this love fight going on between the Lord and his devotee. So with 2 steps he took everything and then had Bali arrested and humiliated, and he got insulted in front of his wife and his relatives, and in front of his grandfather. Prahlad Maharaj was also there. So, but Bali, he was humble. He was humble. He took it. He took it. He didn't say, oh, foul play here. This is not proper. I didn't know the situation, how it would be. I can't hold up my word because I didn't know all the different factors of the equation. No, he said, I'm good for it. And he bowed his head and he said, you can put your 3rd step on my head. And Vamandev did that. And in this way, Balir Vayasakir Vayam, he's one of our Mahajans. He's one of our great teachers. Bali Maharaj. Not Indra, not any of the demigods. And then later on, Vamanadev, he became his doorkeeper. He gave him his own planet, Sutala, which is more opulent than the heavenly planets. And he said, I will be your guard. One time Ravan came and wanted to give trouble to Bali, and Vamanadev kicked him, and he went flying far away. So, what do you rather have? The heavenly planets and all the anxiety that comes with it, or be in Sutala with your worshipful Lord? So Bali made the right choice. He made the right choice. But sometimes it is not so easy to make that choice. And it requires humility. Because without humility, proper intelligence will not manifest. If our intelligence, our smartness is based on ahankar, on a false perception of self, on a false value structure, on false goals, then we will be compromised and will not make the right decisions. So humility is an indispensable, foundational quality of the Vaishnavas. Today is also the Transcendental Appearance Day of Srila Jiva Goswami, who is the nephew of Rupa and Sanatan. He was the son of Anupam, and he is the greatest Vaishnava scholar of his time. He studied elaborately under different teachers, and then he studied under his uncles, and he worked on many of their books. He worked on many of their books, like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He was the editor of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is not so much known to the general public, but the Goswamis very, very liberally, they very cooperatively worked on their writings. Something which is very unknown nowadays. It's very unusual. A friend of mine, he's working for academic publishers. He's a PhD in Jiva Goswami, and he works for academic publishers. And his job is to herd all these cats of academics and intellectuals. And he says they don't even want to change one comma in their papers. They get very, very irritated, very upset if somebody wants to have any kind of influence on their writing. And here we see something quite contrary. How the Goswamis, they freely shared their writings amongst themselves, and they had other people edit their works and contribute on their works. Now, for instance, Jiva Goswami's most famous work is the Satsandarbhas, which was originally compiled by someone else, by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He did all the foundational work. He brought all the material together, and then Jiva Goswami formatted it. He put it into different sections and put everything into place. So the work is attributed to him, but he gives deference to a certain South Indian Brahmana who did not want it to be mentioned by name, because Gopal Bhatta Goswami was so humble that he oftentimes made that statement, yes, I'll give blessings, but you can't mention my name. I don't want my name on any of this. So that is the Vaishnava humility. Now, one time, a scholar came, a Digvijay, and he challenged Rupa and Sanatan for a debate. And they said, debate? No need for debate. We'll sign your Vijay Patra, your scroll, We'll sign, no problem. They put their name. So he came out and he met Jiva on the way. And he also asked him to sign because he thought he's the greatest scholar, that he can defeat anybody. And Jiva Goswami, and he said, look here, Rupa Sanatan, they already signed. And Jiva challenged him to a debate, and he defeated him. So the Sahajias, they are accusing him of lacking in humility. Because he did not follow the example of his uncles who did not care about debate. But he engaged in debate and defeated him. But we can see that this is very superficial, because humility doesn't mean that you just surrender and you just give up. But humility means sometimes you stand and you fight and you protect the integrity and the good name of your predecessors. That is true humility. In a similar way, Arjuna, he wanted to be humble and said, well, let them have it. Let them have the kingdom. I'm not going to put up a fight. And he gave so many good reasons why he wanted to be so charitable and so renounced and so spiritual. And Krishna told him, no, that's not what I want you to do. I want you to surrender and to fight. But fight for me. And in this way, it will be auspicious. It will be transcendental. So, Jiva Goswami, he was very instrumental in expanding the Vaishnava canon. He made it very clear that through his satsandarbhas that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of the Vedic literature. That people did not have to study Vedas, that people did not have to learn Sanskrit, but they could study Srimad Bhagavatam and in this way get the essence of the Vedic literature. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. It is a spotless Purana. It is the immaculate scripture, and therefore it is very dear to the heart of all the devotees. So in a few days is Bhadra Purnima on Wednesday. And we were asked to speak a little bit about Bhadra Purnima. As Jiva Goswami made it his life mission to study the Bhagavatam and to comment on the Bhagavatam, he gave the essence in his satsandarbhas to attract people to Srimad Bhagavatam. And he instructed his disciples to expand on his writings and on the Bhagavatam. In a similar way, Srila Prabhupada, he spent the good part of his time in translating Srimad Bhagavatam and in expanding Srimad Bhagavatam by distributing it all around the world. So that is the Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapakao Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manya Sharanya Karo. That is the mood and mission of our parampara. Sometimes we think humility means, yes, I will stay and I will do my bhajan. Yes, I will be very humble. But what about the humility of going out onto the street and facing the music, facing yourself, of being ignored, being neglected, being challenged, being put into difficulty? What about that humility? Oh no, I don't want that. Just give me some nice seva, something that's pleasing, that's appealing. We can see that there's a long line of devotees who like to do deity seva, deity worship. And it is wonderful. It is very exalted to be allowed to serve the personal form of their lordships. Yet, their lordships have a mood and mission. They have a purpose, why they appear here in this world. What is that mood and mission? To re-establish the principles of Dharma. And Krishne Swadam Upagate Dharma Jnana Divisaha Kalaunashtam Drishamesha Puranar Kodunodita. When Krishna left this world, where he stayed behind in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in these teachings. So, we should make active plans how to spread the glories of their lordships, how to spread the Bhagavatam to the people. And yes, it will involve a little bit of sacrifice, a little bit of humility. Yesterday we went out to meet all the bright people of Brighton. And it started out very, very traditionally with a little bit of humble pie. You know that humble pie? That sugarless vegan version of humble pie? We went out in Brighton and we were happy to collect a few rejections and a few no's. And then I had 3 young, very good-looking gentlemen, originally from India, working in computer technology. And they were happy to take books. And then the app on the phone did not work to receive their donation. And no matter what I did, it did not work. And there was no signal, there was no connection. It was the spinning wheel of fortune. And I thought, Krishna, why are you doing this to me? These souls need your mercy. They need your book. But no, Krishna had a different plan. He wanted me to have a little bit of that Mahaprasad, of humble pie. You know that. It is an acquired taste. And I had to just walk with, just walk. Just go on that long walk. And then all of a sudden my friends who were chanting Hare Krishna had disappeared. They had vanished into nowhere. They could not be found. I looked into every corner, into every street. And wherever I looked, I heard chanting of Hare Krishna, but I did not see my friends. So then, what to do? Then I tried to call my friends, and nobody answered. And then it's time to surrender. You know that moment? That moment when you realize that my plan is not going to work out. That I have tried, but it's not going to work out. And I have to surrender. You remember that moment, right? Yeah. It's the moment of when it's time to be a little humble and to realize, yes, Krishna has a plan. And I'm happy to go along with his plan. So I just walked down to the beach, and still I couldn't find them. No? But then luckily my friend, the original guru, the servant of the original guru, told me where the devotees were. They were hiding on one side of the beach. And I walked there, and I was there, and walking on the beach, and I met all these people who had already seen the devotees chanting. They had already seen the Rath. They had already seen Lord Jagannath. And they came walking my way. And they had a different countenance. They had a different expression on their face. And I just asked them one question. Do you know what this is? And they said, no. I said, voila, here it is. Here it is. The explanation of what this is. And all of a sudden, the cart machine worked again. And all of a sudden, I had 4 elderly, very healthy, very robust Brits. And I thought, no, this is a no. They will brush me off. They will reject me. And they were like, yeah, we need to be more spiritual. And one of them had been to India. And the others are, yeah, we're going to do this. Yes, let's do this. And I was like, what's happening? What happened to the world, All of a sudden, such a change, From then and now, such a change. Little bit of humility, little bit of cooperation. So as the Goswamis showed us what it means to be a true follower of Parampara, to cooperate, to not be a ball hog, not to think this is my territory. No one can come here and preach here. No one can distribute books here. I own this place. But to be cooperative means to have a little bit of humility. Whatever service Krishna wants me to do, I'm happy to do that service. I went to see my Vartma Pradarshaka Guru, the one who showed me Bhagavad Gita in college, in Asunción, Paraguay. And we had a university program lined up, and we went there well prepared to give a lecture. And we came there with prasadam and books and instruments, and we were trying to find the lecture hall, and we couldn't find it. And we were just walking around aimlessly on the campus, carrying our instruments, and we looked like a bunch of lunatics. And after 40 minutes, we could not make head or tail. Nobody answered, nobody was responsive. Then one teacher walked by, and she said, "Today lecture? No lecture today. Today's project day. There's no lectures today. It's school's off. Every class is showing their project in the center square." Now I came there with the plan to give a lecture to an educated audience. And I saw that my plan was not going to happen. You know how that feels? Have you ever felt like that when your plan failed? So I couldn't handle it. So I just walked away, and I did what I normally do. I just went out and stopped people and sold them books, because I thought, this works, okay? So I did that for a while, but then I realized that, what about the other devotees? They're still there with the books and the prasadam and the instruments. So I went back to them after I cooled off and I blowed off some steam. And we went to the square, and there was a bunch of tables, and it wasn't exactly Oxford or Cambridge or Princeton. It was a trade school, what we call a trade school. There were people who learned forestry and fishery and nursing, and psychology was the most elevated topic of all of them. And they had tables with agricultural products, everything made from avocado, everything made from honey, everything made from lemons. And the lady said, "You take a table and you do your thing there, and it will be fine." And I thought, what? My thing? Is a bunch of youngsters just running around, trying out different treats. But anyway, we put our books and our prasadam there, and we started chanting Hare Krishna, and we announced that there is free vegetarian food. And all of a sudden, everybody came. Everybody came and took prasad, and everybody chanted, and people started buying books. And after the event was over, I had to accept the fact that this was the best lecture that I never gave. Did you ever prepare for a lecture, and then you got tapped on the shoulder during Guru Puja, and they said, "Sorry, Swami such and such is in town. He's going to give the class." And then you sit during class. "I already knew all this. I could say this much better. Oh, there was a mistake here. There was a mistake there." Has this ever happened to you? Well, it is a good mind exercise. So, Krishna is very kind. He knows how to draw out a little bit more love from his devotees. And why is Krishna doing this? Because that's his only business. That's his only joy. Engaging in loving relationships with his devotees. And whatever comes between his devotee and him, he will remove it. He will play games. That is Krishna. That's why we worship Krishna. That's why we love Krishna. So on this beautiful Vamana Dvadashi, on this beautiful appearance day of Srila Jiva Goswami, let us meditate how we can be team players, how we can actually expand the glory of the Bhagavatam by living it ourselves. Because people take one look at us and they go like, "So, are you doing this for ISKCON, or are you doing this for yourself? Like, where does the money go?" I had one cup in Hayward University of California in the Bay Area, and somebody complained probably, so he came. He worked on campus, so he came. His name was Raja. Raja came, and he asked me, "So what are you doing here? And who are you doing it for?" And then I told him. And initially it's always this moment of anxiety when our friends show up. And then he said, you know what? I've been married by a Hare Krishna priest in Hawaii. So we both just shared a little bit of our experiences. So it ended up being quite a pleasant interaction, quite a pleasant exchange. But Krishna likes this. He likes to keep the tension. He likes to keep that positive tension. Are you feeling some positive tension in your life? Anyone? Or no tension? Just flat? Like a can of Coke that's been open and standing in the sun for a few hours. No, you got to feel that positive tension. Just like if I'd ask you, how many of you have the Bhagavatam said in their homes? Okay. Who doesn't have a Bhagavatam said in their homes? Okay, please come see me afterwards. Okay, how much? 175. Okay, can we round that up somehow? Like 201 or 208?
199 with the throne, golden throne.
Okay, 199 with the throne, without the throne, 175. Okay, there you go. There you. Okay. No, they got all their cards with them. No problem. So you can come see Divinam afterwards. He's our local man. My friend had shown me the Bhagavad Gita in arts class. He was drawing a picture of Prabhupada, and I drew a picture of some Tibetan Lama. And I asked him, what is this book that you got? And I was curious because he was vegetarian and he was praying before meals. And he did a bunch of strange things that made me curious, you know. I wasn't sure, you know, was he really so happy or is he still smoking dope? And, you know. But he showed me the Bhagavad Gita. I wanted to have it. He said, no, you can't have it. It's mine. I will show it to you, but you can't have it. What happens if you tell a 15-year-old boy you can't have it? Yeah, right. That's what happened. So I went to the temple, and the devotees were so kind. They were so kind. They gave me not just books and prasadam, and one devotee just gave me beads and said, we chant. This is how it works. 4 rounds, okay? And I said, sir, yes, sir, I can do that, of course. But they gave me their time. They gave me their heart. They gave me their affection. They answered all my questions. There was 3 devotees, Atma Tattva, Goralila, Rajavidya. I could call any time of the week. They would answer my questions without any complaints, no charge. They were always available for me. I'm indebted to these devotees, eternally indebted to them. Then I wanted to have all the books because I saw it's really wonderful. I was reading every day the Gita and the Bhagavatam first canto in the back of my house in the park and chanting my 4 rounds, thinking I'm very spiritual. And I wanted to have all the books. So one devotee brought me all the books, but he brought me secondhand books from the library because he thought this kid doesn't have any money. He didn't know that I was working 3 jobs. I was working with a friend at his dad's plant doing some aluminum recycling. They had shampoo bottles and other stuff. And I was delivering flowers on the weekends for a flower store. And I was a newspaper boy in my neighborhood. I was delivering the newspaper, a weekly. And I saved up all the money. And I gave him everything I had. I was not sure, was it enough? I was scared. I did not dare to ask the price because I knew this is priceless. So what do you do if something is priceless? Well, you should give your life, right? That's what we tell people. Give your life. So I gave him everything I had, $500. And he was very happy. I was also happy I got the books. I was a little sad I got secondhand books, but I did not want to argue with a devotee. That was not the culture back then in the day. So I just accepted it. It's the best investment I've ever made in my life. So if you want to invest in yourself, study the Bhagavatam and make plans how you can share the Bhagavatam with others. Now, of course, you can teach mostly by your own example, sometimes also by speaking. You can share books by giving other people books. But mostly, first and foremost, share your heart with others. And be a team player, because that will be so attractive that people will say, I want to become like you. I want to be part of your team. What does it take to be part of your team? And then we will not just have a parking problem here, but, the M25 will jam up all the way down to London because people will want what you have. So, this is the topmost scripture. This is the essence, as we heard yesterday from His Holiness Guru Prashad Maharaj. This is the hard cream, the thick cream, that is so sweet that it is intoxicatingly sweet. It is what keeps you up at night, and what gets you out of bed. So please study the Bhagavatam in the association of devotees and ask yourself the question, what is my service? What does Krishna like me to do? How can I be part of his plan? And then Krishna will do amazing things. He will do miracles. He will change things around. He will do the magic. Would you like to see the Krishna magic?
Yes.
Thank you for your great audience participation. Would you like to see the Krishna magic? All right. Okay. One time I was in Mumbai airport, just about to board a flight, and we were lining up. And there was a well-dressed American businessman, a loud American. You know what a loud American is? Huh? And he turned around and he looked at me and he said, "You trying to be a monk or what?" And I reached into my bag and I pulled out a Bhagavad Gita and I handed it to him. I said, "Yes, I've been trying for 30 years and this is a gift for you." And his mind just went blank because he had said something a little pointed, borderline offensive. And he received a gift for it. And he was not prepared for that. So his mind just went blank. And then he said, well, can I give you something? And I said, well, normally we don't take anything. But in your case, I will make an exception. And he said, well, how much? I said, well, some people give their whole life. He was not ready to do that at that moment. So I saw, okay, you got to lower the bar a little bit. I said, why don't you just give $1 million? He was shocked. Then I saw the ladies picking up the mic to announce the flight. So I know I got 7 seconds and the queue starts walking. So don't blow this, When it's good, don't blow this. So I said, well, just give 1,000 rupees. So he gave me 1,000 and we boarded the flight. Another time I was in San Francisco in Haight-Ashbury, right on the corner of Haight and Ashbury. There are actually 2 streets, Haight and Ashbury. Right there on the corner. And there wasn't much going on, so I just worked the stoplight. I just went up to the cars. And there was a very, very spiffy red cabriolet sports car. And I went up to the driver and I handed him the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, "I'm a Christian." What do you do? What do you do? Do you fight it? Do you argue? I told him. I didn't know what to tell him. It's a stoplight. He's quite adamant. What do you do when you don't know what to do? Have you ever been in such a situation? What do you do? Count your money? Call mom? Go on your phone? What do you do? What do you do when you don't know what to do? You surrender. You pray. You remember, I'm small. I'm insignificant. But Krishna, he can do the magic. So I didn't know what to say. I just opened my mouth and I said, God comes in many flavors. I never said that before in my life. I don't think I said that, but I said it. And he just looked at me and started to smile. And he gave me $50 for the Bhagavad Gita. His license plate said Ben and Jerry. He owns 3 ice cream stores, Ben and Jerry's. One right there at that stoplight. And I said, God comes in many flavors. And that got him. That got him. That convinced him. And he just lowered his defense. You know, all the missiles went back into the tunnels. And he was just his nice self. And I've distributed thousands of books right in front of his doorstep. I worked the line in front of his store. And he's perfectly cool with it. He came to see the Prabhupada premiere, the movie premiere, with his wife. And then he told me, actually, I'm going to seminary. I want to become a preacher. And I learn a lot of theory. I write a lot of essays. I memorize a lot of facts and data. But how to be a missionary? I've been a businessman all my life. How to do that? Can you tell me? I said, well, I can try. I can try. So that moment of surrender, that moment of humility, Krishna gives us the choice. Like we do seminars on book distribution, and people know, okay, it's part of our culture, we're supposed to do it, so they show up. But when it's time to go out, all of a sudden, no one's there. Everybody says, I think my mom needs a peanut butter jelly sandwich. I have to go now. Huh? I think I need to, fix something in my car. So vote with your feet and show up. Huh? There's ample of opportunity. The times are better than ever. People are so open to Krishna consciousness. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Huh? So this is a wonderful opportunity. Today we can pray to Bali Maharaj and to Jiva Goswami and to Vamanadev that they may please grant us that molecule of humility, that little fraction of surrender. Tapita deva bhajambujadvaya prasadaleshanugrihita evahi chanasya tattvam bhagavan mahimno nachanyai kopi vichiram vichinvan. Without a little fraction, a molecule of mercy of the Lord and His devotees. Spinning wheel of fortune. It's not going to work. But Krishna can do the magic, and He will do the magic through you. That's how He likes to do the magic. So now it's very interesting times. It's transition time. There's a change of guard. Have you ever seen the change of guard down at the palace? It's quite interesting, right? And sometimes it's in a grand style, and sometimes it goes very silently, very quiet. I'm coming to the UK about once every decade for nostalgia's sake. Nostalgia, nostalgia? This time because my dear friend Adi Guru Prabhu invited me. And it's interesting to see. Formerly I used to come once a year, and I was surprised at the turnover, at the attrition rate. So we should ask ourselves, how can we actually do this in a bit more sustainable way? How can we do this in a way that's actually having a lasting impact, a positive impact, not just on others, but also on ourselves, so that we will be inspired to participate in the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as the Goswamis did, as their followers did, and as all the Vaishnavas did. So it's a broad mission, and there's many services, there's many roles that we can play. As we see here today in today's verses of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, some devotees were looking after accommodation, and they were not saying, oh, I'm sorry, housekeeping is not in, it's the weekend. No, they cleaned the rooms themselves and made them ready. They were not saying, oh, no, sorry, there is no prasad, but we have chilies with chilies. What would you like? Well, chilies it is. No, they were bringing whatever they could to... That's a joke. I won't tell you the joke, but did you know that Krishna and Lord Chaitanya never ate chilies? I mean, I don't want to upset anybody before breakfast. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. but this is some imported stuff, from South America or from China, but this is not, this is not desi, this is not dharmic, this is not sattvic. Now, of course, you can offer anything that's not, prohibited to Krishna, but we should understand what our culture, what our tradition is. If you go to Puri, to Tirupati, to Ahovalang, Singhachalam, it is ginger, black pepper, and all the traditional natural items, but nowhere will you find chilies. Well, that got your attention. I'm glad. Sometimes it takes a little bit of chili to wake up our consciousness. So the acharyas are very expert in that, and we can see how Krishna is doing that with Arjuna, how Vamana Devi is doing that with Bali, just to wake them up from their comfort zone, to like, hey, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole, Kota Nidra Jao Maya, Pisachira Kole. Wake up, because there's not a time to be naive. It's not a time to be stuck in comfort zone, because that's when you get hit. That's when Maya gets you. So we have an important mission, and for that we need everybody. We need everybody. So thank you for your kind attention. We have 6 minutes for questions or comments. And yes, Divinam here, can you hold up your hand? Yeah, anyone who needs a set of Bhagavatams, he's your man, okay?
Hare Krishna. Puja, our question from this particular verse, may I ask please? So, generally in the philosophy they say, if you are serving the living entities, then you are serving the God. But Prabhupada, he is refuting by saying this, Prabhu Guna Vritta we call, Prabhu Vritta Guna. So how to understand this particular, to refute that, so.
You have to read the purport of the acharyas. That's why we have purports. That's why we have explanation.
No, I was actually
Well, you
listening.
heard the purport. The whole purport is about how the living entity and the Lord are different. So this idea of Manushya Seva is Bhagavan Seva is bogus. It's bogus. Because if you serve Bhagavan, because he's everything and he's the source of everything, so if you serve Bhagavan, then you're automatically serving all living entities. Yatha taror mula nisechanena tripyanti tatskanda bhujopashaka prano paharach chaitendriyanam tathaiva sarvaranam achyuteja. If you serve Achyuta, the infallible, the source of existence, who is the root of our existence, mula, then all living entities will be pleased. Did you ever try to please people? Anyone? Has anyone succeeded in pleasing people? Thank you for your honesty. And believe me, they have tried hard trying to please people, but they're not succeeded. But if you actually please Krishna, all of a sudden everyone becomes pleased and satisfied. Like after the yajna, even Shukracharya, he was pleased. He understood. He had a mistake in judgment there, and he changed his countenance. So there's many things that look very appealing to common sense and logic, but in reality they don't work. Like democracy, right? Sounds wonderful, isn't it? Huh? Let's hear it for democracy. Thank you for your great enthusiasm, for your great audience participation. Huh? There is no democracy in the kitchen. There's no democracy on the battlefield. There's no democracy in the marketplace. Yes, when people of the same stature and the same mindset collaborate together, then it is a very cooperative environment. But this idea of this is great or that is great or this writer said this and this guy said that is not holding up in the court of Praman, Shastra, or even common sense. So it sounds very appealing, but it doesn't work. You see, there are so many good causes. You've been ever approached by some charity for some money? There's countless good causes. But it does not solve the problem. But there's one great cause that includes all the good causes. That if you're actually taking up the cause of the Bhagavatam, the cause of Sanatana Dharma, then automatically the whales will be protected, and the women, and the children, and the old people, and the trees, and the kangaroos, and the ants in Africa. Everyone will benefit from that. But if you're trying patchwork to go and solve all the problems of the world, not only is it impossible, but you will, before you get compassion fatigue, you will actually burn out because there's just too much incoming. I have a friend, he works for charities. He just has to assess charities, whether they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, and so the people can put their money there. So sign up with the great cause, and you will do a lot of good work. But it's a little difficult because sometimes we like to do the stopgap measure. That, I've been a good man. I've solved the problems of the world. But that satisfaction is very short-lived, and it is very superficial. Janma mrityu jaravyadi dukkha doshanudarshanam. I know this is a family program, we got kids here, but sorry to say that no one's going home alive. We're all here for a very short time. So use your time wisely. Instead of trying to become a good guy, do something that has actually impact, something momentous. You know that Gandhi's family members were not very happy that he sacrificed for the nation? You know that, right? So if you want to do something bigger, you have to make some sacrifice. And some people will not appreciate it. That's just the way of the world. You got to live with that. Okay? So take guidance from Shastra and from your mentors. Last point. I can tell you stories till the cows come home, but today is Vamana Dvarasi, and you want to break that fast. So thank you for your kind attention. Yes, Divinam Prabhu.
Thank you, Navin Nirada Prabhu, for your wonderful class. Nice to have your association, and welcome back to England. I just wanted to add to your class that if anybody would like Srimad Bhagavatam set, we also have a beautiful gift for those who are taking a set now. It's called a beautiful Harinam Chintamani stone, which we will have it available outside just at the reception. So please come and see us. We have Srimad Bhagavatam in various languages: Sanskrit to English, Marathi, Gujarati, Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, Nepalese, Bengali, Punjabi. Whatever language you want, we'll have it available for you.
Thank you. And some exciting idea. If you already have the set and you think, I'm good, I'm done. I just came from Latin America. There's a lot of need in other parts of the world where people don't have the resources. So you can also sponsor a set, and we can gift it on your behalf to these devotees who have been devotees for decades in South America, who cannot afford $200 or pounds for a set. So we already sponsored a few hundred like that, and the devotees were very, very happy and grateful to devotees of other parts of the world who have taken on this task to, share their fortune and their wealth with others. So there's many opportunities. Thank you for showing up. I'm deeply touched by the great things that are coming out of this Sankirtan effort, and let us meditate how we can become part of this. Just like these devotees that we heard about in Chaitanya Charitamrita, who were happy to clean accommodations, to arrange prasadam, to take care of devotees, to do whatever was required to make it happen, to be part of Lord Chaitanya and Shishi Radha Gokulananda's, Shishi Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Shishi Gonita's Sankirtan team. That is our great privilege, our great fortune. Thank you very much for your kind attendance. And please bless me with a molecule of humility and taste so we can continue serving in this mission. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi.